Hello, you animals. Welcome back to the RSV Miniseries portion of Dr. Brent and Coco Season 4. This is our 10th video. We only got one more left, and it's the super boring science-y video, which I'm still putting the information together for. Really glad you've made it this far with me together. I hope that you're not too sick of me yet. Our goal was to get as much information out to as many people as possible in as short amount of time as possible. So, 11 videos in 2 weeks is a lot, but that's okay. That's okay. It's for you. Tonight I'm actually on duty, so I'm at the Madhouse, and figured I would give you a flavor of Dr. Brent and Coco after dark. So, you know, enjoy. I don't know. So today we will talk about our current respiratory virus season, and one question I've been asked is why adults don't catch bronchiolitis or RSV. Why don't adults get it, and why do kids get it instead, which is actually not true. So let's get after it. You all might not realize it, but adults can catch RSV and all of these respiratory viruses. I hope that some of you have picked up on that in the media and with my previous videos. In fact, if you remember back to video number 2, I put up a picture of all of the different respiratory pathogens that we routinely swab for. Just like kids, all of us adults can catch those too. So why aren't we talking about that? Well, because when adults catch these viruses, they may get some mild symptoms, but most get over it quickly and don't really care very much. So there are a few folks who may turn into whiny babies when they catch cold symptoms, but whining will only put you in the hospital if you whine too much or to the wrong person at the wrong moment. But I digress. So being under 6 months of age or over 65 years of age are both risk factors for severe illness, and we went over those details in a separate video. But I haven't yet answered the questions, why do adults handle this better than kids, and why does it seem like kids are always sick? One obvious reason is that an adult's airways are larger and better able to handle the symptoms of a respiratory infection. The other part of it is, after you catch it so many times, it becomes less of a lower respiratory syndrome or symptoms and more of an upper respiratory set of symptoms. And that just happens over repeated infections. In my super boring sciencey video, we will go over more about how the diameter of the human airway changes over time and why that's important. However, that's only one part of the answer to our question today. The other part has to do with our immune response, and it can get somewhat complicated. So let's start with an analogy. Let's pretend that our immune system is a map of the United States. Let's also pretend that it's a map that we put up on the wall in this room with the intention to put a pin in each state that we have visited. Before we go anywhere, it's just a blank, clear map, but it's still a map. When a baby is born, they have a map too, as well as a full jar of pins. It works like our adult map. It just doesn't have any pins in it yet. Now, pretend that each state is a different viral infection. To be well-traveled and well-versed in the nuances of all 50 states, we have to travel, sometimes multiple times, to each location, right? Each time you visit a place, you put in a pin. Each time a baby catches a virus, their immune system puts a pin in that virus. Their immune system isn't weak when they're babies, it's just naive. It's just like visiting a place you've never been before. You're still able to travel there. The traveling part works. You're just still learning about that place. That's the part that's new. Over time, adults have put pins in all kinds of places in our maps. Sometimes many pins in the same place. Babies? Well, they're still working on it. So, if you hear about someone having low immunity or a weak immune system, especially as a child, this is usually not actually accurate unless there's a specific underlying illness or deficiency. For the most part, our immune system is either off or on. An otherwise normal baby has one that's on and ready to put pins in things. The problem is that that list of things that they need to put pins in is long. Our analogy might have 50 states, but there are way more on the list to put pins in when it comes to viruses. So why do kids seem like they're sick all the time? They're still checking viruses off the list that you checked off years ago. Each time they do, that's one more off the list. In fact, some sources estimate that children catch 8 to 12 of these per year on average in the first 3 to 5 years of their life, and they're mostly clustered in the colder months. So let's do some math. Let's be generous and label all of the non-summer months as colder months. That's 9 months, or about 270 days. If we expect a kid to catch 8 to 12 of these in that time, and each virus lasts 10 to 14 days, that means that those kids will be sick between 80 and 168 days. That's between 30 and 60% of that chunk of time. Basically, we expect them to be sick more days during that period than they are well. However, when you're a parent of one of these kids, it feels abnormal. It can also feel really frustrating because there's really no medication that treat these infections. We talked about that in one of our previous videos. One approach that can help during these stretches of time is to focus on and recognize the healthy days in between the illnesses so that you can focus on those positive times and lift your spirits a little bit when you're able to. It's important for me to call out the frustration that results from taking your kid to the doctor multiple times just to hear it's a viral infection. At a certain point, you're just kind of overhearing that again. We totally get that. This is just how things are in the practice of pediatric healthcare. And it's just one of the many examples of how children are not just small adults when it comes to their medical care. However, even if your pediatrician can't prescribe anything to make these illnesses go away, we will always do what we can to help by giving you advice and evaluating your child and to see if they need more than just supportive care at home. We'll go over we went over some of the concerning and not so concerning symptoms in videos 5 and 6, so that you can go back and watch those if you need to decide between concerning and not concerning symptoms. For now, recognize that even when your kids are sick, that's just making their immune system that much stronger. All right, until next time, keep showering those kids with love and support and keep watching them put pins in that map, you animals. I'll see you soon.